This week, we probe pit bull theft and the teenagers who claim to be runners for dog fighting syndicates. This is Checkpoint, and I'm Ngepile Mabuse. According to the SPCA, incidents of dog fighting have risen by a staggering 500% in the past 4 years. Teenage boys are allegedly coerced into stealing pit bulls to take part in vicious dog fights. It's a crime that's rarely punished, but now dog lovers are fighting back. Producer Busisiwe Gumede and cameraman Tsepo Dlamini navigate this murky and dangerous world.
The dog's name is Champ because it used to win lots of fights.
Jerry Silwane rescued Champ a month ago during a raid in Extension 3, Soshanguve, north of the capital, Pretoria.
Do you like to fight? Say so. Do you like to fight? No. Oh. I know you don't like to fight. And they force you. Next time they force you, you're going to call who? Doctor? Okay?
Silwane is the founder of the Soweto Animal Rescue and Advisory Center, or SARAC. After working with the SPCA for 15 years, Silwane started his own non-profit 6 years ago to specifically focus on providing a service to Gauteng Township residents. In the past few years, Silwane has noticed a rise in pit bull theft. Many of the dogs are stolen for the sole purpose of dog fighting, a growing phenomenon in South Africa.
Pit bull is a very loyal animal, very obedient animal, and so loving. I would say is the best companion one could actually wish to have. And very strong, muscular as well. So, but now, what people do, they take this loyalty and they change it around, and they make these animals to look like monsters.
Silwane says myths about pit bulls are placing their lives at risk.
Pit bulls' ears are not meant to be cropped. There's this misconception that once the dog is cropped, that automatically makes the dog to be more vicious. And that is just a misconception. The ear has nothing to do with the temperament of the animal. The other reason why they crop the ear is so that the other dogs cannot just grab the animal's ear, So, but unsurgical, mutilation of any animal is against the law.
In the last 2 months alone, Silwane has rescued more than 20 pit bulls in Soweto, Alexandra and Soshanguve. He says they often find the dogs badly injured from taking part in violent dog fights. Silwane blames ignorance for leading players to regard this blatant abuse of animals as a legitimate sport.
Lack of information and lack of knowledge. That's where we come in. We educate people about how to take better care of their animals.
Let's go to this partition.
Silwane is not just a rescuer of dogs. He's also trying to save young boys who he says are being forced into a life of pit bull theft by syndicates.
The stories from these boys are so horrifying. They make them feel worthless. They make them feel vulnerable. They will make example with any child who does not comply. That child will be beaten to a pulp. And families threatened as well.
Checkpoint traveled to Soshanguve, an area now regarded as Gauteng's pit bull theft hotspot. We found this 16-year-old boy, who we'll call Lesego, scarred from repeated beatings and afraid. He blames his love for dogs for the trouble he's landed in.
Too much. Like me, I get for him. Maybe I've hit up you go high. awuna motho a ka tsenang e le nyane so awuna motho a ka tsenang.
A month is all he needs to turn the dog into an aggressive fighter.
Ke phela ke provoke ke fa pelo e la enga o ke tsorbel eng ke no tshwara go tsebeng ke tsebana in loma lona lona ke tsebana ntwele le nna e tshwara.
So while his peers are behind a desk learning, Lesego, who's dropped out of school, spends his days navigating the maze of this farm in search of pit bulls to train. He also steals pit bulls from people's yards. He tells us that he worked for a syndicate that stole his own pit bull, then later recruited him to do the stealing for them.
Pit bull na go maka sabereka diki egule na excited o Facebook no ha ke mpya yo tswala mpya ya hula e ba e ka ba ntsela yo.
He says the syndicate leader put the fear of God in him.
Ara ta funela maike from motho ngitsaiding or really great guy di or nigmutswetsa ma ngamagaza sekolo sa teng na sanya ke sefela I'll get to why every day nele wa mphampja au utlwa film bja wa tlawaila.
Our experience in Soshanguve, we learned that they syndicate, they target young boys who shows passion for animal. And they first befriend these boys. Once they actually win their confidence, is then when they threaten them, they intimidate them, and they force them, to indulge in these illegal activities.
3 years back, kwenza uBhutomunye wathi uthethe ungene egeyitini wabiza inja leya yeza hamba nenja. So uthekhane azokhuluma uBhutulo yawathi bathi uyithengisele omunye umuntu.
Lesego's mother tells us she noticed a sudden change in her son's behavior. Because they live in a tiny shack with no yard or gate, Lesego would insist on keeping the dogs inside.
Yabona le sofa ile la idabulo izinja. So idabulo izinja yena usifaka izinja endlini alale nazo endlini. Abanye abantwana bayahluleka ukuthi bangangena endlini ngoba bayazisaba. Khane bazibetha zifuna ubaluma. Singabamba umntwana abantu zambulala. So ubusafe abukho ungenisa mina emathatheni.
She says Lesego's choice of trade has placed the entire family in danger.
And nekhane kuza inkinga iza ngaphendlini ayizi lapho akhona. And then bafike futhi bafuna ukuhlahlamula umkhukhu bafuna ukwenza yonke into ngaphakathi kwendlu. Yena ngesikhathi leso akekho. Bacabanga ukuthi mina maybe into lezo wazenza kunyazazi alinyazimukela. And abanikazi bezinja bona bayeza bakhuluma ukuthi bona bamthola ejardini yabo bazombulala. And noma bangamthola bazombulala and abazi ukuthi umntwana ungakanani bona bebazi ukuthi umuntu omdala.
But Lesego insists it's not by choice but coercion. He's not the only teenager who claims he's being terrorized by the Soshanguve Pitbull Theft Syndicate.
After the break, will arrests allay the fears of these teens?